Hello. Over the next week, I'm gonna be making a channel with content farm stories, and I'm going to see if that actually gets the subscribers. So, this is the game plan. So, step 1, I need to make a new channel. Step 2, I have to get story ideas. Then I'm going to let ChatGPT make them into an actual story. And then I'm going to find some satisfying clips on the internet. And then I'm going to put AITTS over them with the story. And then I'm just going to edit it all together and upload like 3 of these per day and just hope that works. Okay, I just created a new channel. Now I just gotta think of a name. I'm gonna just call the channel Content Farm. Content Factory. Why not? Save. There we go, perfect. And my handle is the thing that actually matters because it will show up for shorts. It's just like Content Factory. Is this taken? Nope. How about Content Dash Factory? Nope. Content Factory 1, 2, 3. Perfect. The best handle ever. Now for a profile picture. There we go. Best profile picture ever. I'm gonna try to come up with 3 ideas. Okay, this is my first idea. That a dog gets lost and gets found in a weird place. I'm gonna give this to the AI, and I'm just going to see what it does with that. Okay, so after some testing, I got a decent story. I literally haven't read it yet, but I just hope it's decent. Okay, time to find some satisfying video. Satisfying slime video. I'm just gonna take this and screen record it. Okay, I recorded like a minute of this. I'm just going to hope that will do. So let's get into CapCut. Okay, time to put this video in here. Cut out the first part. There we go. Now just like vertical. How am I going to make this work? Just like rotate it. Yeah, that works. Okay, perfect. Now just make this like without sound. There we go. Okay, now text, add text. Wait, no, I want to do text to audio. There we go. Apply. Now.
Recently, my dog got.
Recently, my dog got.
Recently, my dog got.
Okay, yeah, this is the.
Recently, my dog got.
Okay, this is the split. Okay. This is just the TikTok voice. Okay, this is actually decent. It's 60 seconds, like shorts, and I'm just gonna export it.
Recently, my dog got lost, and it was honestly one of the scariest days of my life. I let him out in the yard like I always do. But when I went to bring him back in, the gate was wide open, and he was gone. At first, I thought he was just hiding somewhere close, so I checked under the porch, behind the shed, even rattled his treat jar. No sign of him. I started walking around the neighborhood calling his name, over and over, hoping he'd come running back. But nothing. I asked the neighbors. I drove around the block, still nothing. Hours passed, and that horrible sinking feeling just kept getting worse. I couldn't stop thinking, what if he was scared? What if he couldn't find his way home? And then, out of nowhere, my phone rang. It was the grocery store down the street. They said, we think your dog is here. I literally dropped everything and rushed over, and there he was, my dog, sitting in his shopping cart in the middle of the snack aisle. tail wagging, looking way too proud of himself. And yes, he had a bag of chips in his mouth. After all that panic, it turned out he wasn't really lost at all. He was just out on a little adventure, grocery shopping without me.
Okay, it's time to upload the first
Recently, my dog got
short.
lost, and
I'm just gonna call it like my dog got lost. Watch till the end. Just like something stupid. Just like no comment moderation, because why not? And let's upload it. So that's one down, but I still have to... The hell did that just do? Anyway, I still have to make 2 more ideas. And if you couldn't tell that by my video ideas, I don't have good ideas. So I'm just gonna sit here and think. I finally got an idea. I fell asleep and you wouldn't believe where I woke up. I'm just gonna see what the AI does with that. This is me making the short. Yes, this voiceover is definitely needed, and I definitely didn't just create it because I didn't want the squeaking.
now I fell asleep. And you wouldn't believe where I woke up. I was sitting on the couch, just scrolling on my phone. And I told myself I'd close my eyes for just a minute. But the next thing I knew, I was waking up to the sound of voices and laughter. I opened my eyes, and I wasn't in my living room anymore. Somehow, I had ended up outside. I was lying in a lawn chair in my neighbor's backyard. And the crazy part, they were having a barbecue. At first, I thought I was dreaming. But nope, there I was, half asleep, with a blanket my dog must have dragged along with me. My neighbor looked over and said, "UH, did you just teleport here?" Everyone started laughing, and I was too tired to even explain. Apparently, I had dozed off. My dog nudged me out the door, and I just kept sleepwalking until I ended up in their yard. I guess that's what happens when you tell yourself you'll nap for only 5 minutes. So yeah, I fell asleep on my couch, and I woke up at my neighbor's barbecue like I was part of the guest list.
Okay.
Now,
next
I fell
video, I'm just gonna call it I fell asleep and woke up where? There we go. I fell asleep. You know what? I'm just gonna keep it like that. Allow all. Next. No, it's not made for kids. There we go. Next video. The next idea is gonna be... The next one is the craziest dream I thought was real. Okay, this is definitely something. Voice over that is not necessary.
Now the craziest dream I thought was real happened just the other night. I was in my bed, totally asleep. But it felt so real that I swore it was actually happening. In the dream, I woke up late for school, and everything was chaos. I was running around the house, throwing on clothes, trying to brush my teeth and put on my shoes at the same time. I raced outside, and instead of my street, I was suddenly standing in the middle of a giant stadium. Thousands of people were cheering, and for some reason, they were all cheering for me. A referee blew a whistle, and suddenly I was holding a basketball, standing at center court, like I was about to play the championship game. The crowd was chanting my name, and I felt all this pressure. I dribbled, I jumped, I shot, and right as the ball was about to go through the hoop, I woke up in my bed, heart racing. And the worst part, I was actually late for school in real life. So yeah, that was the craziest dream I thought was real.
Okay, the next video
Now the craziest dream I thought was real
is this one. The craziest dream I thought was real. There we go. Don't hold any comments. Next, no, it's not made for kids. And there we go. Look at my CapCut videos. It's literally all just the same slime video, like bro. Okay, so
Recently,
these
my
are
dog-
all of the
Now
videos
the
I'm
craziest-
going to be uploading for today. and I'll be checking tomorrow to see how they've done. So we didn't get basically any views. The most we got is 114, and that's not really good. We also didn't get any subscribers or comments, but that's to be expected. It's literally just a new YouTube channel. 100 views is good, I think. And I also made 3 new videos. Here they are.
I was half asleep in my room when I heard it. A whisper. At first, I thought I imagined it, but then I heard it again. This soft little voice saying my name. My heart started racing. It was the middle of the night. The house was dark, and all I could think was someone's in my room. I pulled the blanket over my head, trying to listen. The whisper got closer and closer. I finally sat up, ready to scream, and that's when I saw a shadow in the hallway. My stomach dropped. I was convinced this was at the start of some horror movie moment. I crept forward, and the whisper came again. Except this time, it wasn't scary. It was weird. The shadow turned, and I realized it wasn't a ghost. It wasn't an intruder. It was my brother, standing in the hallway, whispering to himself, while eating a giant block of cheese. So yeah, I stayed up half the night terrified, only to find out the whisper in the dark was just my brother, having a midnight cheese party. I was lying in bed the other night when I heard this loud crash in the kitchen. At first, I froze. It was late, the whole house was dark, and my brain immediately went to the worst possible scenario, like someone had broken in. I slowly got up, trying not to make a sound, and crept down the hallway. The closer I got, the more noise I heard, clattering, crunching, and what honestly sounded like someone rummaging through the cabinets. I peeked around the corner, heart pounding, and I couldn't believe what I saw. It wasn't a burglar. It wasn't some wild animal that broke in. It was my dog, standing on 2 paws, tail wagging, head buried deep inside a box of cereal he had knocked off the counter. The crash, the clattering, all of it was just him having the time of his life in a midnight snack raid. And honestly, I couldn't even be mad. I was walking home the other day, and everything felt normal until I heard footsteps behind me. At first, I thought nothing of it, but the footsteps kept matching mine. Every single step. I sped up. The footsteps sped up too. My heart started racing. I didn't want to look back, but finally, I couldn't take it anymore. I spun around, ready to see some creepy stranger following me. But nope, you wouldn't believe what it was. It was a squirrel. A tiny squirrel just casually hopping along, chasing me like I owed it money. I tried to ignore it and kept walking, but it actually followed me all the way down the street, across the crosswalk, and right up to my front yard. So yeah, I didn't get followed by a stranger. I got stalked by a squirrel. And honestly, I'm still not sure why.
Okay, I uploaded all of the videos, and I'm going to see how many views or subscribers I'm going to get tomorrow. Okay, so the videos performed absolutely terrible. 2 have 1 views and the other one has absolutely none. I don't know how that's even possible. But hey, maybe the videos today will do better. I decided that I'm going to get longer videos, and I also got the third satisfying video for the background. I do a new one every day. So here are the videos I posted today.
So this happened recently, and I swear it felt like something out of a movie. It was late at night, and I was lying in bed scrolling on my phone. Everything was quiet until I heard this strange noise coming from the kitchen. At first, I brushed it off, thinking maybe it was the wine or the house settling. But then I heard it again, louder this time. It sounded like someone was opening and closing cabinets. My heart started racing because everyone else in the house was asleep. I muted my phone, sat up in bed, and just listened. For a solid 30 seconds, there was nothing. And then another crash. So now I'm fully convinced someone broke in. I grabbed the nearest thing I can find to defend myself, which was a lamp, and start creeping down the hallway. Every step felt like it echoed a mile long. I peeked around the corner into the living room, and everything looked normal. But the noises from the kitchen kept going, like crunching and shuffling. I took a deep breath, turned the corner, and what I saw nearly made me drop the lamp. There was a shadow moving around the kitchen. Small, but fast. My stomach dropped. I was picturing some raccoon that had snuck in, or worse. I flipped on the light, ready for the worst. And that's when I saw it. Not a raccoon. Not a burglar. It was my dog, standing with his front paws on the counter, tail wagging like crazy, surrounded by a disaster. He had knocked over a cereal box, spilled half a bag of chips, and somehow managed to get peanut butter all over his nose. I stood there in shock while he just stared back at me like, what? I live here too. So after all that panic, the mysterious noises in the middle of the night weren't from an intruder. It was just my dog having the ultimate midnight snack party and cleaning up peanut butter paw prints at 2 a.m. Yeah, not how I pictured my night going. So this happened to me a little while ago, and honestly, I'm still embarrassed thinking about it. I had gone to the library to get some work done. It was really quiet, almost too quiet. The kind of silence where every little sound feels 10 times louder. I sat down at a table, pulled out my laptop, and started typing. About 20 minutes in, I heard this weird sound. It was soft, but definitely they're like whispering. I froze because there was no one sitting near me. I looked around, and everyone else seemed totally normal, just reading or on their computers. I tried to ignore it and kept typing, but the whispering came back, louder this time. It almost sounded like someone was saying my name. Now I'm on edge. I take out one of my earbuds and just sit there, pretending to scroll, trying to figure out where it's coming from. The sound keeps moving. First it's behind me, then it's near the shelves, then it's closer again. I'm sitting there convincing myself the library is haunted, because that's the only explanation that makes sense. My heart's racing, my palms are sweaty, and I'm just about ready to pack up and bolt. And then I catch it. The sound. It's not coming from the shelves. It's not some ghost whispering my name. It's my backpack. I slowly open it up, and I kid you not, my phone had pocket dialed a voice memo app, and it had been playing back my own voice from an old recording. So the creepy whisper in the silent library. Yeah, that was just me, haunting myself, and I still had to sit there acting like nothing happened while everyone stared at me. So this one night, I was walking home from a friend's place. It wasn't super late, but the streets were quiet. And you know how your brain just starts imagining things when it's dark? Yeah, that was me. I had my headphones in, but out of the corner of my eye, I kept thinking I saw something move behind me. I told myself I was just being paranoid, but then I heard footsteps, clear as day, matching mine. I took out my headphones and slowed down. The footsteps slowed too. I sped up. The footsteps sped up. At this point, I'm freaking out, thinking someone's following me. My heart's racing, and I'm debating whether I should run, call someone, or just confront whoever's behind me. Finally, I get to a streetlight and I can't take it anymore. I whip around ready for whatever's there, and nothing. Just an empty sidewalk. I stand there catching my breath, and then I hear it again. The footsteps. Only this time, they're closer. I look down, and I realize it's not a person at all. It's a shopping cart. One of those runaway carts rolling behind me every time the wind picked up. Every step I took, it rattled closer, like it was stalking me. So there I was, terrified for 10 minutes straight, thinking I was about to get followed home by some stranger when, in reality, I was being chased by a shopping cart. And honestly, that's almost worse, because now I'll never live it down with my friends.
Okay, I uploaded the next batch of videos and I'll see how they do tomorrow. So, like the last couple days, the video did not do that well, but here are the videos that I uploaded for today. New satisfying video thingy in the background, by the way. Yeah, up.
So this happened to me a while back, and it's one of those stories that still makes me laugh. Now, at the time, though, I was terrified. It was late one evening, and I had the house to myself. I figured I'd make the most of it, just relax, throw on a movie, maybe grab some snacks. Everything was going fine until about halfway through the movie, when I heard this weird noise coming from upstairs. Now, normally I don't get scared that easily, but this wasn't your average creak or bump. It was a clear thud, followed by what sounded like slow footsteps. I muted the TV instantly, just sat there in complete silence, listening. And there it was again. One step, then another. My heart started racing. Every horror movie I've ever seen was flashing through my head. I thought, there's no way someone actually broke into my house. Right still. I grabbed the nearest thing I could use as a weapon. Broomman started creeping up the stairs. Every step I took, I felt like the house got quieter, like it was waiting for me. When I reached the top, I swore I saw a shadow move across the hallway. I nearly bolted back down, but something in me said to keep going. I checked the bathroom first, empty, then the spare bedroom, empty. Finally, I turned toward my own room. The door was cracked open just enough for me to see a faint glow of light inside. My phone light inched closer, my hand was shaking, and I pushed the door open. And then I froze, because I heard it again. That same thud, that same slow shuffle. Except this time, it was right next to me. I spun around, broom raised, ready to swing. And there he was, my brother, standing in the hallway, completely calm, holding a block of cheese. Turns out the footsteps weren't an intruder at all. He had come home quietly, decided to grab a midnight snack, and was sneaking around the house in the dark to avoid waking me up. The thud, that was him dropping the fridge door a little too hard. The footsteps, just him tiptoeing up the stairs. And the shadow I swore I saw, yeah, that was him too, just trying to cut through the hall with his cheese plate. So there I was, heart racing, broom in hand ready to fight off some imaginary burglar, only to find out I was about to smack my own brother, who just wanted a late night snack. I didn't know whether to laugh, cry, or scream at him, but I'll tell you this, the broom's still in my room, just in case. So this one time, I was on my way to a job interview. I had planned everything down to the minute. I set out my clothes the night before, polished my shoes, even printed out an extra copy of my resume just in case. I wanted everything to be perfect. The morning of, I woke up early, got dressed, and left the house with plenty of time to spare. I was nervous, but also confident. Nothing was going to go wrong. Or so I thought. About halfway there, I started noticing people giving me weird looks, like full-on double takes as I walked past. I thought maybe it was just in my head, so I kept going. But then, as I was waiting to cross the street, a little kid pointed at me and started laughing. His mom tried to shush him, but he kept pointing. Now I'm freaking out. Do I have something on my face? Did I spill coffee on my shirt? I pulled out my phone to check my reflection and that's when I saw it. My dress shirt was tucked in, but only halfway. The entire back of it was hanging out, flapping in the wind like a cape. And to make it worse, I had mismatched socks. One black, one bright neon green. I wanted to melt into the sidewalk. But here's the thing, I didn't have time to go home. The interview was starting soon, and I had to keep moving. So I ducked into a bathroom, fixed my shirt, and tried to ignore the socks. When I finally made it to the interview, I was a little out of breath, but I tried to stay calm. The interviewer looked down at my feet, then back up at me, and I thought, this is it. I'm done. But instead of saying anything, he just smiled and said, I like your style. Shows you don't take yourself too seriously. We ended up laughing about it. And honestly, it broke the ice in the best way possible. So yeah, I walked into one of the most important interviews of my life, looking like I got dressed in the dark. And somehow, it actually worked in my favor. So this happened last summer, and it's one of those days I'll never forget. A couple of friends and I decided to go hiking. Nothing crazy. Just a trail nearby that was supposed to be easy and have a nice view at the top. We brought water, snacks, and figured we'd be back in a few hours. Everything started off fine. The trail was quiet, the weather was perfect, and we were having a good time joking around as we walked. But about halfway in, we came to this fork in the path. One way had a clear sign pointing toward the overlook, and the other path looked kind of overgrown. For some reason, we decided to take the overgrown one. You know, shortcut. Big mistake. At first it wasn't too bad, but then the trail got narrower and steeper. We kept telling ourselves it would loop back around, but it didn't pretty soon. We realized we had no idea where we were. No cell service, no signs, just trees everywhere. At this point, everyone started panicking a little. We tried retracing our steps, but every turn looked the same. It honestly felt like we were going in circles. Then, just when we thought we'd never find the way back, we stumbled into this random clearing. And in the middle of it was a picnic. I'm not kidding. A full-on picnic. Table, cooler, blanket, even music playing. At first, I thought maybe we were hallucinating from being lost too long, but no. There was this older couple just sitting there, eating sandwiches like it was the most normal thing in the world. They looked at us, sweaty and covered in dirt, and said, "Oh, you must have taken the wrong path too. Happens all the time. Want some water?" We sat down, drank some water, and laughed about how ridiculous it all was. They pointed us back toward the real trail, and eventually we made it to the overlook hours later than planned. So yeah, our easy little hike turned into us getting lost, crashing a stranger's picnic, and coming home with a story way better than just a view at the top.
Okay, I uploaded all the videos and we'll see how they do tomorrow. So we literally didn't get any views. Bro, Ruby. Anyway, we didn't get any views, like, at all. Here are the videos I uploaded for today.
So this happened one morning when I was in a rush. I had overslept, skipped breakfast, and ran out the door just trying to make it to work on time. I saw my bus pulling up, and without even thinking, I sprinted and jumped on. At first, everything seemed normal. I sat down, pulled out my phone, and zoned out like I always do. But after about 10 minutes, I realized something was off. The bus wasn't taking its usual turns. I looked out the window, and none of the streets looked familiar. I thought maybe I had just spaced out and we were taking a detour. But then the bus drove straight onto the freeway. That's when it hit me I was on the wrong bus. Not just the wrong bus, but one going completely out of town. I had this mini panic attack, but the driver was already on the highway, and I didn't know what to do. So I sat there, quietly freaking out, while the bus just kept going farther and farther away. Finally, I got off at some random stop in a neighborhood I had never seen before. No idea where I was, no clue how to get back. I had to walk almost 20 minutes to find another bus that actually went back toward the city. By the time I made it to work, I was 2 hours late and had to explain to my boss that I accidentally took a surprise road trip. And of course, my coworkers thought it was hilarious. Me, not so much, at least not until later. So this one time, I got stuck in an elevator. It was in this older office building where the elevators already felt sketchy. The walls creaked, the buttons sometimes didn't light up. You know the type. I was only going up 4 floors, but about halfway there, the elevator jolted and stopped. The lights flickered, and then nothing. Dead silence. At first, I thought it was just a quick glitch, but after a minute, nothing happened. I pressed the emergency button. No response. I tried my phone, of course. No service. Now I'm standing there, alone, staring at the doors, convincing myself I was about to live in this elevator forever. 5 minutes turned into 10. I started pacing, then talking to myself, then sitting on the floor trying to stay calm. And just when I was debating how dramatic it would be to start writing my final goodbye on my phone notes, the elevator jerked back to life. The doors opened, and I stumbled out onto the same exact floor I had started on. I hadn't gone anywhere. I had basically been stuck in one place for almost 20 minutes, panicking about my future life as an elevator resident. Safe to say, I take the stairs a lot more now. A couple months ago, I came home and found a package sitting on my doorstep. Normal, right? Except it didn't have my name on it. The label was smudged, half unreadable, and the address didn't even match mine. I figured maybe it was just a delivery mistake, so I set it aside. But curiosity started eating at me. What if it was important? What if it was something expensive? After staring at it for an hour, I finally gave in and carefully opened it. Inside was a box of socks. Just plain, white, regular socks. Nothing else. No note, no invoice, nothing. I sat there totally confused. Like, who goes through the trouble of mailing socks to the wrong house? The next day, another package showed up. Same thing, wrong name, wrong address, no return label. And inside, more socks. This went on for 3 days straight. By the 4th day, I had like 20 pairs of brand new socks sitting in my living room. I finally called the delivery company, and they said there was a system error sending a whole shipment to the wrong house. They picked up the extras, but let me keep a few pairs. So now, whenever I put on those socks, I think about how for one strange week, I was the accidental chosen one of free sock deliveries.
Okay, I uploaded all of the videos and I'll see how they do tomorrow. I already have a feeling that they're not going to do well, but okay. Okay, so you know the drill. The videos didn't get any views, and here's what I uploaded for today.
So this happened a couple of years ago when I was flying to visit family. I'm usually really organized when I travel, but that morning I was running late. I rushed through security, grabbed a coffee, and bolted to what I thought was my gate. I sat down, checked my phone, and when the boarding announcement came over the speaker, I lined up with everyone else. Nobody questioned me, so I scanned my ticket, walked on the plane, and found my seat. I buckled in, put in my headphones, and felt relieved that I actually made it. But then I noticed something weird. The destination announcement came on, and it wasn't my city. My heart dropped. I double-checked my ticket, looked up at the screen, and realized I had boarded the wrong flight. I wasn't even close. I panicked. I told the flight attendant, and she gave me that look like, "Are you serious?" They had to escort me off the plane in front of everyone, while I carried my coffee like a criminal. By the time I got back into the terminal, my actual flight had already started boarding at the gate across the hall. So yeah, I came within seconds of accidentally taking a spontaneous trip to a completely different state. Lesson learned, always double-check the gate signs. I had this old alarm clock that I kept next to my bed. Nothing fancy, just one of those digital ones with the red numbers. But then weird things started happening with it. At first, it would go off randomly in the middle of the night. I figured maybe I said it wrong, so I reset it. But then, a couple of nights later, it went off again, this time at exactly 3:07 a.m. the next night. Same thing. I started unplugging it before bed, but even then, I'd wake up at 3:07 a.m. on the dot. No sound, no alarm, just wide awake, staring at the glowing red numbers. It kept happening for a whole week. Finally, I got fed up and tossed the clock in a drawer. That night, I woke up again at 3:07, except this time. When I opened the drawer in the morning, the clock was on. Somehow, it had turned back on by itself, even though it was unplugged. I don't know if it was a glitch or something paranormal, but I never used that clock again. It's still in the drawer, and honestly, I'm too scared to throw it away. So one afternoon, I was running errands and stopped at the supermarket to grab just a few things. I only needed milk and bread, but you know how it goes. I ended up with a basket full of random stuff I didn't even plan on buying. Anyway, I'm standing in line, scrolling on my phone, when I feel a little tug on my jacket. I turn around, and there's this kid staring up at me. He says, "Mom, can we get candy?" I froze. He had mistaken me for his mom. I laughed nervously and said, "Oh, sorry. I'm not your mom," but he didn't believe me. He grabbed my hand and dragged me toward the candy aisle. Now people are staring, and I'm awkwardly trying to explain while this kid insists. "Come on, Mom, let's go." Finally, his actual mom comes running up, looking horrified. She apologized 1,000 times, but I was so embarrassed. Everyone in the checkout line thought I had just abandoned my own child in front of the candy aisle. To this day, I can't walk past that store without remembering the time I got mistaken for a stranger's parent and almost ended up buying candy for someone else's kid.
Okay, I uploaded all of the videos and I'll see how they do tomorrow. Again. Okay. Okay, you know how it is. No views at all. Here are the videos.
Video 1, the subway performer.
So this happened when I was taking the subway home from work. It was rush hour, and the train was packed. Everyone was tired, staring at their phones, just waiting to get home. Suddenly, this guy gets on with a guitar. Normally, subway performers don't bother me, but this guy didn't even tune his instrument. He just started strumming loudly. At first, everyone ignored him, but then he began singing. And oh boy, he was way off key. I thought people would get annoyed, but something weird happened. The guy was so bad that it actually became funny. A few people started giggling. Then someone clapped along. Before I knew it, half the train was singing with him. This guy who couldn't sing or play guitar to save his life had turned an entire train car into a karaoke party. By the time my stop came, strangers were high-fiving each other like we were all best friends. It's still one of the strangest, but most fun commutes I've ever had. Proof that sometimes being really bad at something can make a whole room better.
Video 2.
The muffins.
I've always been a sleep talker, but usually it's just mumbling, nothing serious. Until one night when I was at a friend's sleepover, apparently, around 2 a.m., I sat straight up in my sleeping bag and yelled, "The muffins are coming," at the top of my lungs. Everyone woke up freaked out, staring at me. I had no memory of it, of course. The next morning, they told me what I'd said, and I thought they were joking. But then one of them played a recording on their phone. There I was, crystal clear, shouting about muffins like it was some kind of prophecy. For the rest of the weekend, they kept making muffin jokes. And to this day, they still bring it up. Honestly, I have no idea what I was dreaming about. But apparently, in my sleep, baked goods are my biggest enemy.
And the last video is the wrong Zoom call.
During the pandemic, I was working from home, and everything was on Zoom. One morning, I rolled out of bed, grabbed some coffee, and joined what I thought was my team's daily meeting. I kept my camera off, but I could hear people talking, and none of the voices sounded familiar. I figured maybe I was just tired, so I unmuted and said, "Morning, everyone." Dead silence. Then someone goes, "Who are you?" I looked at the screen and realized I was in the wrong meeting. Not just the wrong meeting, but a completely different company's meeting. I had clicked an old link by mistake. Everyone was staring at my little black screen square, waiting for an explanation. In a panic, I said, "Sorry, wrong room," and left. Of course, I accidentally left my mic on while leaving, and they heard me mutter. Well, that was humiliating. Safe to say, I triple check every Zoom link now.
Okay, I uploaded all the videos and I'll see the 0 views tomorrow. Okay, and again, the video didn't get any views. So, what did we learn from this? Don't do this.